Staccato CS. Some say it's the best. They quickly became obsessed because they were so impressed. But when put to the test, does it really top the rest? There's this feeling in my chest, one that I can't get past. And I'm sure by now you've guessed that when this trigger is pressed, it may not actually prove to be the best. Men of action who rely on perfection tend to keep shit simple. No need for flash, no need for shining. They just want their gun to go bang with exact perfect timing. Staccato is known in every corner of the globe to be one of the best you can possibly own. But is the price justified? Is anyone qualified to tell us that we will be satisfied? They push you to decide and go along for the ride while they accept their free guns on the side. But let's be
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome back once again to the A to Z EDC channel. It's my pleasure to be here with you today with one of the most hyped handguns that's come out in the past couple of years. And I've been trying to tackle a lot of guns recently that are very, very hyped up to see if they're worth the hype or they're not. This is not my first rodeo with Staccato. I'm not a Staccato fanboy. I like Staccato. I think they make a damn good product. They're just not the amazing heralded gun that so many of the fanboys seem to think they are. But as always, I put my money where my mouth is just to give it another chance and see how I feel about the CS. The one I had before was the old C2 Duo. It was a fine gun, but it wasn't good enough to keep in the collection compared to other guns that I've got. So I have been Staccato-less for about 3 years now. Today, that all changes. I decided to go down to my local gun shop, and they just recently became a Staccato authorized dealer a few months ago. And the only ones that really trip my trigger are the XC, of course. Everybody wants an XC. I just don't really feel like spending $4,500 on a Staccato when I could spend $4,500 on something else and get a much better gun out of it. But for the CS, I've always wanted a CS because I really felt that that was the perfect size. And if you're here, it's probably because of the same reason, is you're looking at something that's a really good carry size for concealed carry, and you want to compare it to a bunch of other guns. So we're going to do that today. This is a desk pop video, and that means it is a desktop overview and review of the gun and my initial thoughts. This is a brand spanking new gun. I just got it a couple of days ago, and I have not even had the opportunity to shoot it yet. So the next video that'll come up will be a shots fired video where I take it out on the range and we experience the joy of shooting a Staccato together. So let's take a quick look at the packaging. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Do they even put anything in this front pouch? One thing I love about Staccato is they do give you a really nice gun bag. I really, really do appreciate that. I hate boxes. So there is the first 15 round magazine. Because I opted for the compact grip, not the full-size grip. And then, what is this? I think this is just a local thing from my dealer. Yes, it is. So you see, I paid my own money for it, $27.50, which is a little bit higher than what you would spend on Staccato's website directly. Now, I got two options on here that raise the value, but it's still about 150 more than if I would have ordered it directly from Staccato. So if you're looking at a Staccato and you want to save money, that's not something you can usually count on. But if you want to order it directly, and you'll save some money that way. Okay, inside here is a test target. And I'd say that looks pretty good. Generally, those are done at 25 yards. That's a good grouping for 25 yards. All right, and there is your lock, some tools, and your owner's manual. Some more tools. And a QC card. Tools for an optic plate that you do not get with your purchase. And like many people, I am greatly bothered by that. So let's think about it. I bought the gun, I bought some extra magazines, and I had to pay $130 for an optic plate.
Please like and subscribe.
So I essentially have $3,000 wrapped up in a carry gun. It angers me that they don't include the optic plate in the packaging. If you're making an optic ready gun, it should come with your plates, or it should be direct mount. So had to order from Staccato the plate because the local dealer did not have one. Everybody's focusing on the new HD4, and that's all the spare parts that my local shop had was for the HD. So the options I chose on this were the compact grip module. So that's the 15 rounder instead of the full size, which is a 17 rounder, because I wanted this to be a more compact version of my Bull Armory. I chose the flat trigger and the DLC barrel option. Now, all of the barrels are going to be stainless steel bull barrels, but I liked the black a lot more than the standard brushed steel, because I just kind of like the all blacked out look. It just kind of works for me. So that's the way I went. Just want to quickly demonstrate to you that this is clear, because it's my safety, and I'd rather not die just to make a stupid YouTube review. So if you're looking at a CS and wondering, how's it really going to carry? What's the comparison? I'm going to give you some ideas on guns that are the same size, guns that are a little smaller, and guns that are a hair bigger, and show you why I chose to go this route. And then we'll talk about some pros and some cons and all that kind of good stuff. Typical review stuff. You're used to this. This isn't anything new. All right, so right now, one of my personal favorite carry guns, just for the size and for the configurations, I needed to have this magazine so that I had my extension on there, but the chamber is clear, and we will keep this out anytime we are actually manipulating the gun. I'm only going to have it in there for the times that we're doing a size comparison, which is right now. So taking a look at this, you see from rear of slide, these are very close to being the same size, with the M&P Shield Plus carry comp being a little bit longer just because of the comped barrel or slotted barrel, whatever you want to call it. And the length is the same. Now, if we go without the mag, so assuming I had the 10-round flush fit mag in there, you're just a tiny, tiny bit shorter. That's why I love this particular gun. But it shoots fine. It shoots good. The comp is more of a gimmick than anything else on this particular gun. It's not as effective as it is on some other ones. But when you get into rapid fire scenarios, then it fires up really well and you do feel the difference. I got this because I wanted to have the flush 10. I wanted to have the middle range 13 and then the big 15 so that I have different sizes. So this is carried mostly in an EDC pack, EDC pouch. So like a fanny pack, that sort of thing, because it's very, very tiny. It takes up very little room. It's snag free, works out very, very well. Then we go to my second most recent acquisition, which is the H&K CC9. Same deal here. I'm using the magazine because I want to have the finger extension on there. But you see the chamber is clear and will make the trigger dead anytime the mag will be in there. So how does this stack up against the mighty little CC9, which took me 6 months to get my damn hands on? It is a little bit longer, about a ½ inch longer, about a ¼ inch longer in the slide. And the thickness isn't all that far off. I think this is 1.13, if I'm not mistaken. The weights are fairly similar as well. All right, let's get that out of there because we are going to be manipulating the gun a little bit. So this is very close in size. This is still going to be more compact. And I'm going to be most likely leaving this without an optic on it, which I don't normally do because I want this to be the most deep conceal gun that I have. So that's the reasoning behind that. Now, my favorite, one of my favorite in the high performance realm of 2011s is my Bull Armory SAS2 EDC Pro. This is the ported Pro. So you've got the aluminum frame with the polymer grip module, steel slide. This is built the same way. Polymer grip module, aluminum frame, steel slide. This is a commander length, so it's a 4¼ inch barrel. This is obviously much shorter. Now, there is going to be a significant difference when you go to carry this one or carry this one. I don't mind carrying a 4¼ inch gun. My Platypus is the 4¼ This is a 4¼ My OA Defense 2311 is a 4¼ So I don't mind doing that. But sometimes this grip is a little bit too much. So having this significantly shorter grip makes it easier to conceal than this big monster. I do not expect this to shoot as well as the Bull. Here's another comparison. Everybody likes to talk about how buttery smooth their staccatos are, and this is fairly smooth. It's definitely a step up from a Glock, sure, but it doesn't hold a candle to the Bull Armory. So I still maintain what I have said for years. I would prefer to have a Bull Armory over a Staccato in almost every circumstance. They're just a little bit more refined and represent a much better value. I didn't have to buy plates to mount an optic on this. I didn't have to wait for something to come in the mail. I've been waiting, 4 or 5 days so far to get my optic plate for that. And they didn't even have the optic plate I wanted. You have to get what's in stock. So I'm going to be putting a much larger optic on there than I wanted to. So whatever, it is what it is. I'm pissed off about that. And I'm going to be putting a $500-600 optic on there and still not having the optic I want. That does make me angry for a $3,000 investment. This was a much smarter investment. And the thing is, they just didn't have this size, which is the Ultralight Pro. I would have bought that instead, the ported version in this smaller size. And they just didn't have them in stock. That's the way Bull Armory is. It's really, really difficult to get their guns. Another that I absolutely love, my Dan Wesson DWX Compact. So your lower half is the CZ75, your upper half is, oh, really, your upper half is kind of CZ a little bit, the way the barrel is inside of the frame as well, because there's no barrel link. But it has the operation of a 1911. So you're getting the best of both worlds. So if you really love 1911s or you really love CZs, this is clearly the way to go. But this is all aluminum, so it is rather heavy. It's a smaller gun, but it's rather hefty. Now let's take a look at the size differences here. Okay, so the DWX Compact is about 1/8 of an inch longer in the grip, about 1/16 of an inch longer in the slide, and they're very, 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 very close in the overall thickness. It appears that the Staccato CS might be a hair thinner, but it's not by much. As far as triggers go, better trigger on the DWX, better trigger on the Bull Armory than on the Staccato. Not by a huge margin, just a little bit. Here's the trigger, a little bit of take up there. There's your sear engagement. Pretty darn crisp. Feels nice. Feels like it's about 4.5 pounds. It's a bit heavy for what I want. I usually want 3.5 to 4 pounds. But that is also going to break in over time as well. Now, the last size comparison I'd like to do is with another one that I carry a lot, that I absolutely love. I mean, there's not a thing that I don't like about this gun. This is the CR920 XP true compensator on a micro slim 9mm from Shadow Systems. Now we're gonna, I think that's gonna be bigger. Slide to slide. Okay, so you've got 1/4 inch longer in the slide, and it is almost identical in the length of the grip. So these two are extremely comparable, except for the weight. This one's going to be a little bit lighter. This is one of the best shooters you can get in this small size of a gun. I hope this lives up to the reputation, or at least the hype, that all the gun tubers keep giving it. I do truly love that gun. That thing has been just fantastic, flawless, completely reliable, completely amazing in every conceivable way. Now, let's talk about the features on the Staccato CS. Reasons why you might want it is, yeah, of course, because it's compact, it's lightweight, and you still got a good capacity, 15+1. They also have 17+1 magazines that will work in there just fine. The safety. This is not going to go P320 on you. Now, it is not drop safe. We know that almost every 2011 on the market is a Series 70, not a Series 80, so you don't have a firing pin block. So if it's dropped straight on its muzzle, this one, this one, this one, they will all fire if dropped straight on the muzzle. So you know what? Don't fucking drop your gun on the muzzle. That's pretty much it. Grip texture. I like it. Now, I've got big hands, so I've only got a little bit of room here. But man, the texture feels really, really good. It's almost as good as the Bull Armory. Bull Armory is just a little bit more aggressive. It's very, very grabby. I've had no problem with the grip safety engagement. The thumb safety's very solid detent, very positive, and there's no wiggle on the opposite side safety. So they have been fitted properly. And they're fitted into the frame nicely as well, so you're not getting any hot spots here. Right in the web of your hand, no problem at all. I don't expect to have any issues while I'm shooting it. Now, when these came out in 2023, they absolutely dominated the carry market. Everybody had to have one. And if you could afford it, it was in your collection. It was in your safe or it was in your holster. They made one change from 2023 to the next year. They made the frame just a little bit wider so that it's flush with the slide. So if you're looking at a used CS, try to ascertain as to whether it's the flush or that the frame is a little bit narrower and then the slide hangs over a little bit. Actually, that's flush too. Dan Wesson is flush. Everything I have here is flush. Normally, the slide would be a little bit wider than the frame, and you would feel that lip. The reason why that's important is holster fitment. You cannot buy a holster that's made specifically for the CS 2023 and put this one in there. It's not going to fit because it's too wide. It's going to snag all of this really, really terribly. And vice versa. If you bought a holster that either has no designation or it does clearly say CS 2024 and you put a 2023 model in there, it may not be secure. It may not fit properly. So there's a big difference there. I've heard some people complain about having the built-in magwell. I like it. I need that lip so that I have the force with my pinky. I definitely need that. And I don't feel cramped on this like I do on a standard Glock 19. I love the flat trigger. I don't know why they don't have any serrations. I would much prefer if it was a serrated trigger like this, because it's like having the memory bump here. I know where my finger is at all times when I feel the grooves, and my finger doesn't slip this way as I'm pulling the trigger. I like to have the serrations. I don't know why they don't do it. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. You want as much traction on your gun on the vital areas as you can get, but Staccato doesn't seem to agree with me. It's still a duty gun / carry gun. It's not a competition gun. It's not as glass smooth. It's not all hand fitted. You don't have the incredible hand fitting of the slide to the frame. You could see all of the gaps here. You do not have very tight tolerances. It's not bad, but it doesn't match up to like the Dan Wesson. And I really wouldn't expect many 2011s to. Yeah, see, that's every bit as sloppy. But there's nothing loose. Everything's nice and tight. So is it worth $2,500 to $3,000? If you're already buying guns in that league, where the money is not really an object for you, then it's probably going to be worth it just based on the fact that you've got the reputation of Staccato. You know that it's always going to be quality. You know it's going to be reliable now that they have finally figured out how to make good magazines. And these are proprietary, and they do not work in the C, in the P, or anything else. It only works in the CS. The serrations on the slide are pretty good. They're pretty grabby. Again, not as good as the Bull Armory. Bull Armory is more aggressive. Love the sights. to the point where if I didn't put an optic on here, I don't think I'd miss it all that much, because these are really perfect sights. Nice green fiber optic up front, serrated black on the rear. When people talk about how it shoots like a bigger gun, it shoots flat. No, it does not. I haven't shot this one yet, but folks, I'm telling you, it's a myth that you're chasing. And these people just keep saying the buzzwords. Shoots flat, shoots flat, shoots flat. No, it doesn't. It's still going to have muzzle flip. It's still going to have recoil. That's just the way it is. You're not going to avoid that. Even your comped guns here, you're going to have a little bit. Even with this one, this is extremely ported. It's got a little bit of movement, not much, but it does. So you'll never hear me say anything shoots flat. What I'm hoping for is it's effortless to get back on target. If I can get that thing to return to zero quickly and reliably in the same spot, as long as I'm doing my job, then I hope it's going to be doing that, because this most certainly does. This does, and this is not comped. This does. This mostly does. This is pretty good. And I want the performance of these in this, of course, but it's not comped or ported. That's the way it is. And if it needs me to get to send it out to Vinny at Monsoon Tactical, I will, and I'll do that little mini Genghis comp that he does up front. I just don't want to have to do that. Most of my guns are ported or have a compensator on them because I personally prefer it. It's not because, I can't handle the wild recoil of a 9mm. It's because I want that extra force multiplier. I want that extra edge that makes it just a little bit better, that makes me just a little bit better. And if for some reason I am in a position where I need to wrap off a few shots at once, I would rather it be with a gun that's going to go right back to zero very, very quickly, because this is the real world, and every single round you fire has an attorney attached to it. I care a lot less about being sued and care a lot more about, I don't want to shoot somebody else because I can't control this gun in a high stress situation where I'm relying purely on my gross motor skills. I want to have every edge that I can have. Now, if I believe what every YouTube reviewer says about this gun, then it's going to shoot like it's a compensated gun. It's going to shoot like a Staccato P. It's going to shoot like a much bigger gun. And I don't have to worry about that. But I know that most of them are full of shit. So I'm going to find out for myself, and I'm going to share that experience with you as honestly as I possibly can. Overall, I know what I like and I know what I love. I like. And I want this to be in that love category. Because you know what? You spent a lot of money, and it's not worth it as soon as you pay for it. When I walked out of the store, I had a small amount of buyer's remorse as soon as I walked out into the parking lot. I'm like, did I really need it? I have so many other guns that directly compete with this that are already so fantastic. Do I really need it? And I even called a couple of buddies when I got home, like, hey, man, if you're interested in a Staccato CS, I just bought one. I'll take a few $100 hit if you want it. And they're like, actually, I can find them cheaper on Gunbroker than even what you're offering. So that's the problem with guns. Guns, unless you're buying a very specific type, always depreciate. And as much as you're not buying these as investments, at some point, because you're spending a lot of money, it is an investment of sorts. You want to make sure you're making the right choice. Like I said, I like Staccato. I know they're solid. I know they're tough. I know they're reliable. I know they're accurate. I know they shoot very, very well. I had no negative experiences with my C2 Duo. I just didn't prefer it for the cost of what it was compared to other guns that I have. It didn't justify itself. It didn't justify its expense in my collection. So I had gotten rid of that. I think I even replaced it with 2 guns and probably still had money left over for ammo for training. So that was a smart move at the time. This one, I've really been enjoying dry fire practice. Everything that I've been doing with it, I've been enjoying. So I expect the same when I go to shoot it. And I'm actually excited to do so. I really want to get to the range. I just had the craziest, most hectic week, and I haven't been able to do it. I want to see if that trigger is going to break in to be as crisply perfect as these two. These two were absolutely amazing triggers. And I'm interested to start carrying it. Because once I've got 1,000 or so rounds through it, then I feel comfortable carrying it. And then I get to truly see. But judging by the size and judging by the weight, it's not going to be any more inconvenient than others that I already enjoy carrying. So I don't foresee any issues there whatsoever. But it's still in my heart of hearts, I have to ask myself, was it worth all the money I spent? So far, I feel the quality is up there. I feel it is. As long as it performs as well as it feels like it's made, then I'm not going to have a single issue. And I think it's going to, in the end, be a good choice. Is it the right choice for you? That's entirely up to you. Because people that even can afford and can justify spending that much sometimes go, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that much on my defensive pistol because it's going to get taken away. And I might not see it for 6 months or a year, 5 years, or anything could happen. I may never see it again. But I look at it in the opposite. I'm going to spend the most amount of money on the gun that may someday have to save my life or my family's life. I'm not going to go cheap on my carry gun. I have done a couple of budget guns, but only on ones that were really, really good quality. Like Canic. People want to give Canic shit. Dude, I've never had a Canic malfunction in any possible way. And I have thousands and thousands of rounds through the 2 Canics that I've got, and they've been fantastic. They're not my carry guns, though. I don't know that I trust them enough just yet to carry them. They have not had a long enough record in the U.S. to prove historically that they are as high quality as they seem to be. I love shooting them. Oh my God, they're accurate as hell. They're fun, amazing triggers, perfectly reliable on the range. I've had no complaints. But there is a step up when you get into this. You feel it. You know it. Now, like I said, I wish that it was a little bit smoother like I had expected. And like I've experienced handling other staccatos. They've been glass smooth. This one isn't. Not sure why. And it may be another thing that when it breaks in, it may fall into that. I'm not sure yet. So that's where I'm at on this, in this initial getting to know me stage, the initial honeymoon phase. I really like it. I appreciate the work that's been done on it. And I love the size. The size is what does it. This thing is just perfect for a carry gun. It doesn't feel so small that it's going to be problematic or not perform the way I need it to. And it's not so large that it feels cumbersome. Listen, I can't stress this enough, how much I thoroughly love my bull armory. But there are just days that this massive grip is just too much to bear. Plus, it holds a lot more rounds, so it gets a lot heavier. But yeah, man, everything's solid, everything's tight, and you know what? Same for this. Solid and tight. I do also appreciate some of the innovation that's here that doesn't exist on any of these other guns. If you look at the lines that are milled into the barrel shroud, that's for lubrication. You could put a drop or two of oil on each of these grooves, and what happens is there's a little channel, or I'm sorry, there's a little hole next to each channel rail, or rail channel. And when that drips down, it begins to lubricate inside of the slide. The barrel is also fully fluted, so you can lubricate it there as well. You're still going to want to put a drop up here, rub it in, because that's going to be your contact point right there for lockup. Although the blade doesn't tilt as much, so it's almost even contact all the way around. So yeah, rub the oil all the way around, sure. So anyway, that's all I've got to say about this for right now. I have a lot more to say about it, I think, after I shoot it and get a better idea of the value that this is going to have in my collection and in my life. And when that happens, I'll come right back and let you know. Thank you for joining me as always, and I'll see you on that next video.